Welcome back to Satisfactory Update 8. We're already on episode 10, so we've made tons of progress. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see the full playlist, but at the same time, if you're just joining in, that's totally fine. Don't worry, I'm going to catch you up. In the last episode in particular, we finalized the last two elements, the last two goods that we needed to complete phase 2 of the elevator, of the space elevator. It was versatile framework and it was automated wiring. We did them all the way over there at the end of my highway to hell, next to the motor factory, and we are actually bringing, all of these goods through this small over here Mark 1 belt, which is then coming out to this elevator, this small bridge on top of my factory. We have over here some important, smart splitters to make sure that we can separate everything. And right now, to be honest, it's actually going mostly into the awesome sink because we are full. We have finished. We have delivered 500 of the versatile framework, 100 of this automated wiring. And so we can start this episode by just sending all of this to space. Let's go. We seal it into the box. And now we're going to send it into space. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, and go. Nice. Never gets old. Now we have unlocked phase 3, right? We have phase 3 over here, 2500 versatile framework. So I'm just gonna continue that going, but also 2 new goods. But most importantly, we also have unlocked tier 5 and 6 into a hub terminal, right? We have 5 and 6. 7 and 8 are still locked. We need to complete elevator phase 3 before they unlock, but we already have tons of things to do with 5 and 6. In particular, the first one I want to do right away is gonna be the oil processing. We're gonna get things like fuel, we're gonna get plastic, rubber, so many things. We just need a couple of resources, but we've automated all of them, right? We have automated the motors, we have automated the copper sheet, so that's not a problem. Let me bring that and I'll see you in a second. Okay, we're ready. 50 motors delivered, 500 copper sheet, 500 pipes, and 100 industrial beams. Let's launch the pod. As always, we can see it also go up. Should be careful not to put a bridge on top of it, by the way. But yeah, now we have unlocked really important things. If I go into my productions, here I can see the refinery and the oil extractor. The oil extractor, we're gonna need to find oil node to put on it, but it's a bit like, your miner basically. The refinery, similar to your assembler and constructors, you can do, multiple different production into it. Let me build one so I can show you. It's actually quite a bit building. Here it is. But what is interesting is if you look over here, you have 2 outputs, and here you have 2 inputs, but they are different shapes, right? We have the normal one over here, and that's for my, let's say iron ore, those type of things. But we also have a round one, that's for my pipe, right? So basically, this is where you're gonna start mixing things. For example, in the last episode, we unlocked the alternate recipe for pure copper ingot. This is putting copper ore and water to make those ingots, right? But we also have a lot of new ones like making plastics, rubber, petroleum coke, fuel. So that's gonna be quite a big change. There's a lot of different new productions to do. In this episode, we're definitely going to do plastic and rubber. I'll show you those productions, and we'll look also a bit at fuel power. Hopefully we can also even get to high-speed connector, maybe not building it, but at least unlocking it. Speaking about unlocking, before I show you where we're gonna go for, the oil processing, let's look a bit at the MAM, because there's a couple of things we could do. So in the MAM, we haven't been there in a while, so let's look at it. Alien organism, for example, we can definitely unlock this one over here. Just 5 of DNA capsule and 500 of steel beams. We have tons. And it's, it's just an equipment for your hand, but still, that's basically one less space to use for my gun, for example. So I'm gonna take it. I could also do this one, medical inhaler, we'll do it in a second. Yeah, I'm gonna want to do the high-speed connector, as I said, pretty soon, but we need plastic for it. And mycelia, I think we can do quite a few, right? I have some stators, I have some mycelia. Yeah, let's do also maybe the parachute. Soon we'll be able to do that one. These two, okay, let me get some these rotors. Okay, so first of all, medical properties. Done. Then we have two new types of medical inhaler that we can also unlock. Let's also unlock the parachute, in particular because with update 8 now you only need one parachute and then you're done, so that's great. And then over here one hand slot for this parachute basically. That's the point. And I think this is all we can know for now. We still have one unknown chemical element, it's sulfur if you don't know. We're gonna look at it probably in the next episode. Now let's actually build one parachute. We have exactly the amount of fabric that's perfect. And we can put it on our hand. So I can show you. Oh, actually that's not the hand one, that's the back. Sorry about that, I forgot. But anyway, that's fine. So we have a new resource that we can check, that's the crude oil. I do this, you know, I may see some, I may not. The reality is, at this point, I suggest you just go on the map, unless you really don't want, you know, to. In some ways, I guess it's cheating, but having in a game like this, you need to play with the map, plan your factories. So there is quite a bit of crude oil across the map, right? It's not too bad. I've also put all of the iron ore, because in particular, I think you remember where we are based on this iron ore. Right, this was the iron ore we had really at the beginning, so I'm here right now. Then my highway to hell is going all the way over here. We don't really have a lot of crude oil over there. There is some a bit into the south here or there, but there is also tons of it here. And the reality is there's pretty much nothing else there, so it makes it a great location to start playing with oil, to focus on oil there. There's also quite a bit of water if needed, because it's gonna be needed at some point. So yeah, this is, I think, a great location. We do need to create, you know, basically again a highway to something, not to hell. Basically gold, right? Oil is gold. So yeah, we're gonna go this side. Then we may also put one over here to bring all of the oil. That will require probably quite a lot of pumps, we'll see. But yeah, that's the idea, ladies and gents. So yeah, basically let me start to build this new highway this side, and I'll see you, I mean, in 1 second. Couple of hours for me, but in 1 second for you. Lucky. Here is, ladies and gents, a few minutes later, and we have now a highway. Starts, you know, at our main base over here, and goes all the way over here into the place where there is a lot of oil. You know, there is oil somewhere over here, there's oil behind us there, and then a lot of oil over here. So looking at the map again, you know, this is a starting base. We have this highway that goes all the way over here, and then later we'll also have a road that goes this side. It won't be a highway because, you know, I'm not gonna have trains or even trucks going this side. I think it's just gonna be pipes, but we're definitely gonna have a road, let's say. So yes, basically now we're connected, we can start bringing what we need, etc. But the reality is you can see all of the oil and also all of the water is going to be way lower, right? There is quite a long way down to go before we get to it. And water and oil, these are liquids we go into the pipes, right? Similar to what we did before with the water generator, the coal power generator. And so if we were to send all of this all the way to the highway, this would be a lot of pumps. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to actually manage all of our liquids a lot closer to the ground. You know, basically I've put it over here. It's still a bit higher than the ground, but it's at the level where some of them are. You know, there are actually some oil just behind over here. So this is at that level. And even over here, you know, this is a good level to not be hindered by the trees or by some of the rocks. That's why we're going to do it at this level over here. And then when we're done transforming it, for example, making plastic or rubber, we can have an elevator to send the plastic and rubber upstairs and send it wherever we need, right? Now this is how those crude deposits looks like on the ground. We're going to obviously cover this, covering this quickly back up. And now we can put into, and then into our production, we have the oil extractor. This is the building you put on those deposits. So like a miner, and this is going to give you crude oil. We're going to boost it to the maximum. So instead of 60 for an impure one, we're going to have 150. There is another 150 over here, so that's 300. So that's a good start. Now we're going to pipe this all the way over here. But before we do, let's discuss a bit what we can do with this crude oil. So let's put a refinery and we can look, there is a lot of different recipes. Normal plastic, normal rubber, residual rubber, petroleum coal, fuel and residual fuel. And this is without any hard drive giving us more recipes. Of course, we're gonna get way more in the future. And basically what's really interesting is that there is two big ways. Either is you transform everything into fuel, right? You crude oil into fuel and you get also polymer resin. And then you can transform this polymer resin into plastic and rubber with this residual recipe. Or you can do the opposite in a sense of transforming the crude oil into plastic or rubber and get heavy oil residue. And then this heavy oil residue you can transform back into fuel. Or you can actually also transform into petroleum coal. Now obviously the oil on the map is limited like all the other resources. In my opinion, at the end, what you're gonna want to do is to transform it first into fuel, because you want to get tons and tons of fuel to make tons and tons of energy. And then you get tons of polymer and you can transform this polymer into a bit of plastic and rubber, because it's not like you need, 100,000 of plastic per minute type of thing. But right now, we cannot really do anything with our fuel because we haven't unlocked yet the fuel generator. This will come with tier 6, milestone logistic mark 4. It will be an important one for sure, but we need heavy modular frames, computers and rubbers. To be fair, we have unlocked the heavy modular frames a long time ago, we just haven't started making it because you do need a manufacturer to make it and we don't have a manufacturer yet. Similarly, the computer we actually cannot do yet. We need to unlock this one, industrial manufacturing, which will give us the computer and the manufacturer. So that's great. And lastly, it was the rubber, which we're gonna make in this episode today. So we can't really do, the way of going into fuel right now. So instead, we're gonna do the basic plastic and rubber recipe right now, which, use your crude oil directly to make the rubber and plastic, and will give you some heavy oil residue, which you do need to do something with. If this gets full, then this will stop. And as I said before, what we could do is transform it into fuel, but then we get into the same problem where we can't do anything with our fuel right now. So instead, we're gonna transform into petroleum coke, because that we can do something with. Because right now, remember, we've been using normal coal into our coal generators, but you can actually also put the petroleum coke. It's not going to have, same numbers. Instead of using 15 per minute, for example, can use 25. It also doesn't produce the same amount of energy, those type of things, but you can. And so this way, it will also give us a boost on our electricity. We're quite close to our capacity, right, all the time. So having a boost will be great. And you may have seen that I've already started over here. This is far from finished and it's definitely not the most beautiful one. There's no lights at all. But what I've started to do is also have different blocks with different colors. For example, over here we have the greenish one, which is going to be for plastic. These are 5 plastic ones. Why 5? Well, this is 30. So 5, that's 150. And remember, this is exactly one of these over here. Similarly, we have over here 5 of these, which we're going to make for rubber. And this is again 30. So that's going to be perfect. That's going to be 150 again. Let's copy the settings. Perfect. So yeah, we have the crude oil that's coming in and it's gonna make the rubber. Now both of these are also going to create heavy oil residue, right? That's what we're gonna do in the side. We're gonna have an aerial heavy residue output that's going to go this way and go into these 4 oil residue into petroleum coke. Actually, to be precise, you don't even need 4, you need 3.75, but I'm gonna leave the 4 at 100% because you do really want to make sure that you use all of this output. Otherwise, this could stall. And then we're gonna create, this petroleum coke. By the way, we're creating 120 for each. So you have to have 2 belts, Mark 3. 1 belt is not gonna be enough. But yeah, we're gonna create in spectral code and then start sending into call generator. I think over here we have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. So 9 is what you're gonna need for one of these belts, and then we're gonna have 9 more on this side for the second belt. I haven't built it yet. And that's going to give us actually quite a lot of electricity. We'll see that at the end. And of course, we're also gonna make some rubber and plastic, which will go into those industrial containers. And then maybe, you know, we're gonna send them to the top with big elevators. That's actually probably do that right away. Right, we're gonna want something a bit like this up so we can put unlimited elevators in terms of, yeah, so that's connected, and then we'll be able to send them to the top, but this is further away, so we need to expand this, and then we can have, you know, truck station to bring this plastic and rubber all the way over here. We can also start making other factories over here that would be using this plastic and rubber. But for now, this is mostly to unlock that resource. Let me expand that a bit further. Yeah, one more. Okay, I think we're on top there. Good. Now, one pipe Mark 1 is 300, so 150 will be totally fine. It won't be a problem. I'm gonna make sure that basically the pipes get full before you start them. And right now they should be flat, so we shouldn't need any pump. So let me continue to build that further, and I'll see you in a second. Of course, don't hesitate to tell me in the comments below if you have any questions or thoughts to make this even better. Here it is, ladies and gents. I think 1 hour later, we have made some progress. So we have now 2 oil extractors that are working. As you can see, right, it is on, and this one is on too. They're going to push their oil into their respective pipe all the way. This is gonna be basically a walkway into the factory. Here, by the way, I have one of those how do they call, sphere something, Mercer sphere whip, which will be for the version 0.1. So I'm hiding it here into a block. But yeah, and then we have, you know, those pipes going in. I haven't locked the pipe wall hole, so now it is working. We can send it into it. Then we have those 2 fluid buffer which are full of crude oil here and here, and then continues and goes into the 2 blocks, right? So remember, this is our plastic one, and here we have heavy oil one. Now if we go onto the other side, we've also started to do all of the belts. So we have basically those mergers here. This one is at level 3, which is, you know, if you don't know how to do this, again, it's 1, 2, and 3. And that is the basic level for an elevator. You know, a basic elevator, that's the minimum you can do, is 3. So that's what we have, you know, for the plastic over here. And then at the bottom there, we have the heavy oil, right? Heavy oil going. So that's the same for plastic, right? And then the plastic continues at level 3. At level 4, we're going to actually have the rubber, right? This is at level 4 over here, so you do the same. All right, it's 1, 2, 3, and then you add a 4th, and then your elevator basically, instead of being the minimum height, is gonna be just a bit higher. So we have done this, and we have, you know, the rubber going on that layer. We also have all of the heavy oil that continues, right? Then those 2 belts are gonna go this way, the heavy oil is going to go there, and I have my only pump of this whole factory right now to push the heavy oil over here on top basically of these 2 belts. Then these 2 belts will go over here, right? We have the plastic that goes into this first one over here. Let me just take this out so you can see it cleanly. Right, so we have the plastic at level 3, it goes into this belt, goes over here, and then at level 4 we have a rubber that goes into this one over here. So that goes into those storages. I know I have a lot of storage. Then we can see the plastic and the rubber. I will add also, of course, some signs and things like this, but I felt it looked quite good also to put it like this. And if you're wondering how to do this, let me show you live how to do that. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a foundation of 1 meter, put it down, right? Then we're gonna put our belt, goes here. Then you can delete, you know, this and that. and you can re-put a foundation, normal foundation like this, and done. And now I have this box I want to take out. So yes, we started to make some plastic and we started to make some rubber. But you may have realized that many of them have stopped now, right? They've stopped because they're full of heavy oil residue. Sending the heavy oil over here, right? But it's full, it is full, it is full. It goes into this food buffer, which is also full, and then it goes into over here those refinery, which I haven't put on yet. So that's why it's full. I'm also going, to continue with this color code of this is going to be black. And we're gonna put all of this black, and I'm going to put this on, right? This is going to start making petroleum coke, which we can send into the coal generator. So see you in a few minutes once again. Welcome back a few hours later, and I still haven't built anything on top over here except 2 storage containers that are now completely full of this plastic and rubber. We also have obviously the 2 elevators that bring those resources. We have 1 hypertube and we have stairs if we prefer to take the stairs. Let's take the hypertube, it's going to be a bit closer and faster, and here we are. We're down, and I do have to admit this is a bit dark. I think we'll be able to do better in the future with lamp, but I still put a lot of sign, and as you can see it's still a bit dark. But yeah, we are in the major tower where all of the resources are gonna go up and down, right? The rubber and the plastic, and then we can go into the factory, which is now basically done. It is an open space factory. Didn't put walls all around. But what's really interesting is the floor in which we are going to walk is basically 1 floor above the main floor where all of the factories and refineries are. And as you can see, by the way, everything is perfectly green. It's green, 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 green. This is working at 100% everywhere. Now let's take a bit of a look from far for you to see the whole thing. But yeah, it starts all the way over here for water. And then we have the main factory here with the main elevator. As I said, for now, I'm keeping it open. In the future, what will probably happen is I'll build also more. There may be an intermediary floor and then the main floor, and then we can fully close it. But for now, this is open. Right, we have also pillars underneath to make sure that this is supported. But that's the main thing. Let's start from the water over here. We have 8 water extractors. I don't need exactly 8, I need slightly less than 8, but with water it's always better to produce a bit more because the pipes are always tricky. And this is also why I'm really separating each of the pipes. You can see there is actually 4 pipes, 2 on this side, 2 on that side, because I like to keep the pipe really clean because they can be quite finicky. So as I said, it is 8 water extractors into blocks of 2. Those 2 together, those 2 together, those 2 and these 2. Right? They go into pipes and buffer. So we have the first one, second, third, and fourth. I've painted everything blue for the color of water, obviously. We have also, a nice white walkway if you want to go around, see what's happening, right? So it is, we can walk around, and go in the middle if we want to take the hypertube, or we can also go on that side over here if we want to take the stairs back up. Now this needs to go quite high, so we actually have multiple pumps on each, just bringing the water higher, and then as I said, it's going straight. Now there was a bit of a mountain over here, so we're going around. You could go through it, to be honest, but decided to really follow and go around. This is the hypertube to go into the main base. Alright, maybe let's take that while we're at it. So here it is, entering the hypertube, and let's go. Here we are, following the pipes on both sides, full of water. Go, go, go. And now we arrive back into the main factory, where obviously we're going to have again buffers to make sure everything is fine. This water is going to be used into the generators, but before we talk about the generators, let's go back to the beginning, right, to the entrance of the factory, where we have, of course, a power switch, so we can switch the power completely if we want. So over here the power is coming from up top, so we can enter, as I said, on the floor over here, or we can walk on this slightly higher floor, which is easier because in particular you're not bothered by the pipes that you can see, but everything is accessible, including the tube fluid buffer, to make sure that you don't have a problem. This is just a temporary one while I was constructing. You saw the sphere before over here, but we now have also railings everywhere. We have the barrier on the side, right? But yeah, this sphere, we have to protect it, so that's why it's inside over here. So there, I mean, as you saw before, these are my two oil extractors. Nothing has changed over here. Right, they come through inside like this. There's stairs and staircases all around the factory, right? So you can go down over here if you want to go back inside. You can go up to follow and see, all of the production. So as I said, all of these refineries, the 5 over here, are doing plastic. And by the way, I don't know if you ever saw, but there's a really cool animation over here. In particular, also at night, you see like fumes coming out from this. It's really cool. But yeah, these 5s are for plastic. They are working on 100% productivity, no problem, and it's creating also heavy oil that's at the bottom, right? And then over here we have the 5 for rubber. This is actually starting to get full because we're starting to get full on it. But yeah, we have over here, as I said, again, the heavy oil residue. And by the way, I just realized that I forgot to put an awesome sink, which maybe we'll put somewhere over here. Maybe that will be a good idea. So this awesome sink will be based on those things here. So I just need to change that. I'll do it just in a second. But yeah, we have over here all of the resources coming. They go into the elevator to the top, except the heavy oil that goes over here. There is one pump to make sure that it goes all the way over here and goes down. There is one of these fluid buffer, right? And then goes into those 4 refineries to transform into petroleum coke. And then petroleum coke, we have 240 coming this side, 240 coming that side. So one for this line of 9 and one for this line of 9, with this elevator to go under here, the water, right? And then that gives us a lot of electricity. You may remember that we actually had 1,200 megawatts before this episode. Now we have 2,550. But this will only continue if we have actually petroleum coke, which means it will only happen if we continue to produce heavy oil, which means it will only happen if we continue to produce rubber and plastic, which is why I want to put over here an awesome sink, because soon, this one, I think, look at this, is full. The plastic one is not full yet, but the rubber is basically already full. So we really need to get to this. But yeah, then more, staircases to be able to go really all across the factory. Let me also show you on this side. I'd love to hear any thoughts that you have, any comments, requests, what do you like about it, what you don't like. But what I really like about it is how clean and organized it is. You have the 2 inputs over here, different colors. Then you have the first block, second block, different colors. And it goes over here, then it goes into those 2 blocks. I think you can walk around. It's really great. And then the water is definitely taking a lot more space than you could. You could make it a lot more compact. For example, you could have all 4 pipes into the same foundation, because you could also use one on top of the other and those type of things. But once again, I felt it was going well into the theme of being very clean and organized to put them separated like this. So yeah, and we now have plastic and rubber, and we've also started to use basically the first fuel power. It's not using the fuel generator that we haven't unlocked yet, but it's using petroleum coke from a byproduct of fuel, and so that's why it's a first fuel power. Give me a second to change a bit what's happening over here, because we're gonna need to put basically some smart splitters to be able to go into an awesome sink and never be full. And it is, we have an awesome sink that is now live and got a big boost in points, so we're getting a lot of plastic, right? Basically what's happening, let me show you quickly. At the bottom, we have now 2 smart splitters. We have one in the back here, which is for plastic, it says first you go here, and when this is full, you can go up. And then we have a second one over here, which says first you go here, and that's full, right? And then when that's full, you can go here. And so then when we go up, we have those two elevators here and there that are getting merged, and then they go directly into the Autumn sink. So yeah, that's done. Let me just close back this. I need to paint the whole thing black again. I also had to extend the floor a bit over here, and so that's why you can see those two pillars. But yeah, now this is working. So we are done with plastic and rubber and a new source of power. So we can unlock high-speed connectors. So back in our MAM, in the Caterium branch, right, we have the high-speed connectors over here, 500 of quick wires, 50 of plastic, we have tons. So we can do it, 3 seconds, and it's done. Now in our craft bench, we can see also how to make those high-speed connector in terms of the basic recipe. You can use a manufacturer, which we don't have, or a craft bench. It will require some quick wires, some cables, and some circuit boards, which we haven't started either, but actually the circuit boards, we can start doing them because this is just copper sheet and plastic. We have automated both of these, and you can make that in an assembler. We have that. So circuit board, we could definitely start making them. Maybe we make them on top of the new factory, for example. But yeah, we have, the high-speed connectors finally unlocked. Looking at our hub, today we unlock the oil processing for tier 5. We still have 3 more things in tier 5. First, the gas mask, which will enable us to go into some of those areas where you lose health. If you have a toxin into the air, I'll show you that in the next episode, because we can do it pretty easily. We just need a bit of fabric. Then we could also do alternative fleet transport, which enables you to create some canisters to package fluid and move it around. We don't really need that right away, but we could do it definitely. Most importantly, the one I really want to do as soon as possible is industrial manufacturer over here, which will unlock the last 2 phase 3 elements that we need for the elevator, the space elevator, the modular engine, and the adaptive control. But more importantly, it will give us access to the computer and the manufacturer. Remember, we really need the manufacturer to start making some complex things, because this has 4 inputs, and in particular the computer is one of these. We'll also unlock the trucks instead of the tractors. They're bigger, right? And then we'll still have tier 6, right? And in particular in tier 6, we're gonna want to get to fuel generator as soon as possible. We have the jetpack, we have the train, that's gonna be a big one. And we also have pipeline Mark II to get pipelines that can transport 600 instead of 300. So a lot of new things for next episode. I hope you're excited. Smash like button, and I hope to see you next time.